So here I did cut off some of those low frequencies. Whoa, something went wrong. Uh, yeah, and basically, normally this causes a problem, but in this case, I did it because there were certain problem frequencies. If you can see, look here. This is with it, so now it actually sounds, or it is. There is no problem frequency, and now there is. You see? So, what is this? Let me hold it. This was quite loud, as you see. It's minus 55.6. This is much louder, so I probably don't do much with that. The only problem is that it does something with your, all these harmonics, and it might do something and take it away. So what I did is cut it off. Now you can see I boosted it as well. You think you said don't boost it. Well, first of all, this is a linear phase EQ. It's not a normal EQ. This is very precise and will not cause phasing, which is very nice. Now you could set it. Sorry, that was not what I was talking about. The thing is with linear phase EQ, is that you can use it for this without really altering much of the rest of the sound. Um, but the problem is it's very heavy on the CPU. This one is actually quite light, so I used it once, but if I would use this 10 times, it might be that if I hit the space bar and start the song, it might take like a second. Annoying. Um, and sometimes it becomes so severe you can't work on the song anymore. Like, trust me, I've been there. Anyway, so I increased the volume, and then I did this because if I would just cut it, I couldn't get it precise that it would just cut this. Basically, I want anything removed between 25 or below 25. You can see it round off here. I still want to have that frequency here. You're allowed. And then the rest, you need to fuck off. So I made that happen. Be gone. See? Kinda cut off that last a bit. But and then it upped it because this would be also affected, and it lowered. So I upped it by 4. That you can see it, you know, with it, without it. You see this? It stays basically same volume. That's what you want. I just upped it purely to keep it at the same level, not to increase it again, just to keep it at the same level. That's basically it. Same thing. I used the compressor as in the kick. Um, you can use the one from Ableton and even copy these settings, so like 7.5, with the threshold reducing about quite heavy actually here. Maybe a bit too heavy. Normally I go for about -6. It's just a good mean. They'll definitely hear it, but do this by ear. I set it a bit different, did a bit higher, probably for a reason. And I mixed in the dry with the wet a bit, that it kept steady. Again, I did this while looking at the Exoscope, um, just to get a better idea. So let me show you without it, and then let me show you with it. Without, with, without, with. So if you look very careful, it kind of evened it out. What I couldn't really get right here, this is purely by ear. Just apparently down and then a bit higher was what sounded the nicest. Uh, that was that, and then PSP. This plugin is so great for this stuff. Because everything I found that this is okay. It sounds tight. This is what I want. Let's spike it up now a little bit, and that's what I do here. This one is a multi-band compressor, so it's again a compressor, but I don't really use the compression too much. Like it's barely doing anything. It is doing something, but what more importantly is that I reducing, which we think is counterintuitive, a little bit of the low end, and then added a little bit of the high end. But with this plugin, if you have to put up the knee quite low, but just turn it up a little bit, and you can add a little bit of drive. Actually, lower the drive apparently here, but and it will just sweeten it up. Here you can listen to it without, with. It brings that high end to it. Um, I found that just makes it pierce better through the mix, like just a bit better. So that's another thing that I want to do. Um, and then we have this one. It's another EQ. And this EQ is not to help any prop and frequencies. This is again to color the sound. So in this case, I'm using it for coloring. And when I looked there, I basically found like I just want to have this frequency a bit more present. So and again, that would make it sound more present in the mix. Just to have this, I don't want this too much. Just this. So as you can see, it does a nice job. Just you can do this with the normal EQ from Ableton. I find this one is a bit easier. One thing that I'm seeing now, that probably by messing with the settings, it's peaking. So here you can see it's still okay, but here, hey, it's too loud. So I don't want to have it too loud. There are a few ways you can do this. I could like just lower probably somewhere here the level. One way of doing it, I find it easier because it's Ableton native plugin, just to do it here and just to add it here. So -2 +2, and then it kind of comes out at the same volume. Now, I probably should be clipping now here. Okay, so added even more than -2 or 2. So let's say -5. Doesn't really matter. I could put it -10. We're gonna add that here anyway. So we're gonna add not 10, but say 8. See, and now it's clipping only here, not here anymore. So now let's find the ideal spot. So 5 still. Whoa. Okay, so it added quite a lot of. So without it. Alright, now it stays nice. So we're not even going to add the sound. Obviously, we want to have that volume at the original level, that it isn't overpowered by the kick completely. So by fixing this, we're just going to play it all one time. Just those two, kick and bass. This is -10, this is -11, and say -12. So we can up this one a little bit. Here it's a bit more like intuitive, but here you can do it like, a scientist. So you can do it. I upped it now 0.4. Alright, so now we see it's already half a dB difference. So they're nice and close together. Again, you can use this to see that relation. And you can also see, hey, this one is a bit louder than those two. Actually, we want it to be a bit softer, so let's mess around a little bit. Let's see if we put this down, if it just creates a bit more coherent sound without that being too loud. And let me see, somewhere around there. Normally we would just copy and paste it, so a little bit of variation could be nice. So alright, look at that, spot on. So nice. Okay, so we lowered this one, and this one is now about the same volume as these. Could even be a little bit a little bit softer, and then there. Now, that's pretty great. We probably add this a little bit, because that loudest part is now a bit softer. and we can, push it. So I think this is still quite balanced. Alright, so this is nice. The last thing I did is probably some corrective. Yeah. So there was still one area that I found that was a bit lacking, so even more in that mid. And this is all done later. Those last three plugins were probably me after I have everything done. Like, first I wrote this, and then the snare, and then percussion, ambience, leads, acoustics, and then this one can go away. These, I kind of thought like, okay, I want to sweeten it up a little bit, and that's when I added those, that it sits a bit more in there. But I worked on headphones, like I'm sitting on headphones now to keep it consistent, and probably if I turn on the speakers I might find some more problems, so maybe I'm turning it off. So it's good to reference to see if adding this actually improves it, or if it's just your system, or if it's you. Sometimes it's good to take a sleep sometimes. Yeah. Okay, so I have that. That's basically everything about the kick and bass. I didn't put anything on the group. Sometimes I do, normally filters, sometimes, yeah, some reverb if I want to have it like affected, or and just have the kick like fade out, or have some bit reduction to create some funky effects and stuff like that. I put in here, but I normally don't really put much to put it together. I try to do it as best as I can before that. It's not always completely true. Sometimes there's a little bit of glue compression, or others just to control that volume even more to make it a bit more consistent, but it's more like a trial game. But if you start noticing you chugging things on there, EQs or compressors, and you're not specifically going for something and you're just like swimming the knobs, then probably don't. Just go back and try to create a better sound. So that's for the kick and bass. I'll show it all together, and then next up is the snare. Breaky, some ambiences, some cat I strangled earlier. Nah, it's just silly zebra stuff, but yeah, it seems silly right now, but put in context. Leads, pretty alright, nothing too special. Altogether, it's pretty okay. That was it for now. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. See you there.